This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. I am your host, Gianna, and today we welcome Susan to the show. Susan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and special thank you to our sponsors, Sphere Rocket VA, for making another episode possible. And now today is a special episode because Susan has a very unique story when it comes to making her transition over to EXP. But before we dive into that, Susan, what market are you in? Where are you from? And how'd you find yourself in real estate?
Okay. So I am in Asheville, North Carolina, and that's the market that I'm in. And how I found myself into real estate, it was a second career after being in social work, and then started having children and started working for childcare. So decided to stay home and got into home sales, direct sales, and fell in love with sales. And so as the kids got older, I chose to get into real estate because it gave me that freedom of being able to take care of my children, help be a mom and a wife, and also have the flexibility of real estate, and did very well.
Absolutely. Awesome. So we loved the flexibility. And, Susan, how long have you been with EXP? Since July, you said?
Yes, I've been in real estate since 2006, but I joined EXP in July of 2021.
Okay, awesome. So what drew you to EXP? Why did you want to join here?
Well, a little bit of background on myself. I was starting out in real estate in 2006, was a top producer with Coldwell Banker in the first 2 years, probably a lot to do with my large sphere, but also my sales background, I think, had a lot to do with it. And then after 2 years at the pit of the real estate market in August of 2009, I decided to leave Coldwell Banker, and I opened up a national franchise that was new to the Asheville area, and started it with just myself. It was called EXP Realty, and I grew my company to about 130 agents. So in July of 2021, I chose to move my company over to EXP, mainly because of the support that I saw that EXP was offering. Being a broker owner is not what it's cut out to be. It's a lot of ego. But people say you're a broker owner, that's, it helps your ego, but there's a lot of burden behind it, a lot of liability. Everything's on you as far as the training, as far as the staff, you're carrying the whole load. And so I love the concept that EXP offered, where they kind of were my foundation. They provided the training, they provided the bookkeeping, they provided everything. And all I needed to do was just level my agents and grow my organization, which is what I enjoy most about being in real estate is loving on my agents and helping them be successful.
Yeah. And, buying into them and really, making sure that they have good foundations and are keeping up with warm leads and creating new ones and just being a good staple in the community, top of mind. That's great. Susan, what makes you really say like, hey, I'm over at EXP now and I'm never leaving this place?
Oh, gosh. Well, I brought over 130 agents. I have about 110 now. And so right there, having that foundation, that's given me the exit strategy that I'm building up so that, not to say I'll ever retire from real estate, but I do want that freedom of location, freedom of time, mostly, where I have a little more flexibility. I've already noticed that's happening. The transition was challenging. I'm not going to lie about it. I have an awesome staff that helped with that. We are finishing up some of the tweaking, some of the transitioning over. But at the same time, I'm already seeing where I have freedom. I went to Cabo's a couple of weeks ago with the build One Big Fire, I believe it was called, the Brink Go Conference. And just having that freedom of being able to leave for 7 days and knowing that there was a big for my agents to reach out to, that my phone wasn't ringing off the hook, that I wasn't, my phone wasn't tied to my ear for 7 days. That kind of freedom is huge. And so the knowing that there's so much more training that that EXP offers to my agents than I could ever offer. It was those type of things, the security of knowing that I was giving my agents the opportunity to grow their own business. We're agent owned and agent grown. And the fact that they can grow their own business as opposed to just feeding me was a huge reason why I went over to EXP. I feel like it's the forefront of real estate in so many ways. Glenn Sanford is a genius in the way he has his business model set up. It can't fail. And for that reason, his forward thinking, I just, the stock options, for those reasons, I don't see myself ever leaving.
Absolutely. And Susan, obviously you're busy. You've got a team, you're building, your legacy here. And how do you take care of Susan? How do you make sure you're avoiding burnout mode? Like, I know you said you got to go to Cabo, but you were working there. You were doing, some workshops and you were bettering yourself. So in your free time, if you have any, how do you take care of yourself and make sure that you're avoiding burnout mode?
Very good question. Well, I just came back as in Monday, Tuesday. No, I guess it was last week. Anyway, I just came back from a 10-day fishing trip. So I love to fish. I do pedal kayak fishing, and we up here in North Carolina, we have lakes. So we do. I love to go out on a lake and pedal kayak and troll fish for lake trout, and so enjoy doing that. I'm also a silversmith, and so those are my hobbies that I enjoy doing when I'm not reading and building my company. But those are, I love pounding on metal. That's a great
really cool. How do you even get into that? Like, how does one pick that up as a hobby, just casually? Did you know somebody that was in it before, or what?
Well, you take, I actually found a studio in downtown Asheville. Asheville's very artsy. And I found a studio in downtown Asheville where you could make a ring. And it was just for anybody, come in and make a ring. And so I made one and I thought, well, this is really cool. And so then I started just, watching YouTube videos and things like that. And then I started discovering more studios in the area that I could take classes from. So I've just been taking classes at a beginner level and moving up. And one day I hope to get good enough that I can actually sell online and design jewelry. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's an expensive hobby. You got a lot of tools and torches and hammers and nothing's cheap, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really cool, hobby to find yourself in. And like you said, it could be lucrative later on, which is super exciting. So that's pretty cool hobby. And, Susan, you're making sure to take care of yourself, which is great. It's good for your team. It's good for the people that you mentor. And I would like to know, next, how your story is so unique in coming over to EXP, right? We talked a little bit about it off camera, but I would love for you to really dive in and, tell us your secrets. What did you do? How'd that transition go? Give us the background on how it even came about to be.
Well, it was kind of funny. I had a business coach about 3 years ago. I have a business coach every year. As long as I've owned my real estate company, I've always hired a business coach. Every year it's a different one, but they help me grow my company. And I needed that. And so about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a business coach named John Mikish. And so John was in Charlotte has Roost Realty in Charlotte, and he was showing me how to grow a team. And so at that time, my franchise agreement was getting ready to be up with exit. And so I was looking at other options, just kind of seeing before I signed another renewal, 5-year renewals. I looked at other options. So at that point, I looked around and I looked at EXP and John was not even in EXP at the time, but he said, you want to go talk to AJ Maida with EXP. So I did. I met with AJ, and great guy. And he was very informative, but the business model was not where I felt like it would suffice. Basically I was going to have to run my brick and mortars and things off of my revenue, the revenue stream, the rev share. And so it was kind of like, I'm giving, 80% is going to the agent, 20% is going to EXP. And then I just have to run my brick, and I can't do it. I'd have too much overhead. So I just can't make it happen. So at the time I backed away from it. But then I have a dear friend who is under John Mikish now with EXP named Jason Shimpaw. And Jason approached me about a year ago. And Jason and I have been friends for probably the last 7 years. I know John Mikish through Jason. And so he brought it up again, and I was like, no, Jason, I'm not interested. I've already checked it out. I'm not interested. And he was like, I really think you ought to look at it again. And I was like, no, I told you I'm not interested. Don't bring it up again. And he was very respectful, and he didn't bring it up. But he kept staying in touch with me. So many times when we try to recruit somebody, when they give us that hands up and don't talk about it, we just kind of like, well, you're dead to me, and we move on to the next person, right? But he did, and he kept loving on me, and he kept reaching out and just, hey, how can I serve you? How are you doing? Because we had a friendship before, the conversation about EXP. But I would share, just because he was almost like a coach to me, because he is a national coach, but I would share with Jason some of my frustrations I was having. He could tell just from our conversations how burdened I was, how it was almost oppressive, all the weight on my shoulders dealing with 130 agents. And I was recruiting like 5 agents a month.
I can't even imagine. Yeah. Staying
As
busy.
I was recruiting, my profit wasn't going up because my expenses were going up. Because that meant more trainers, that meant more of my time, that meant, hiring more staff. It just, everything was, so there was no benefit to recruiting because of the fact that my cost was going up.
Right.
So anyway, the more I thought about it, I think he said, Susan, the business model's changed. You really need to look at it. And so I don't know that the business model has changed, but him and John got together and we kind of created an outside of the box way to do it with the hybrid model. I was not ready to give up my brick and mortars. And so they helped me create a compensation plan that was lucrative to the agents, but at the same time gave me the money that I needed to keep my brick and mortars sustainable and all my overhead. And so that's what we do. My business model with High Vistas Realty, which is the name of my company within EXP, is a little bit of a different model split than the 80-20 split. But we provide a lot of community culture, support, training with the agents, hand holding, things like that a lot of agents and the brick and mortars that the agents some of those agents just aren't ready to give up that brick and mortar. We all know you don't need it, but in their mind, they feel they connect that brick and mortar to community and to culture.
And you're right. You don't need it, but if it's a preference for you, it is really good to have those tools and then like the community and the environment around you, especially because we live in a world that is so focused on the metaverse and, it can be intimidating. And, for many, it's actually a reason why they don't end up coming over to EXP because they feel like they're not going to have that support, that physical brick and mortar support. And so you said, that you came up with this idea based on, spitballing ideas with your coach or, what would have been your like alternative plan, or did this kind of seem like the end all be all for you or the best decision, or I guess just go further for us?
Well, I could have just sold my company.
Sure.
I could have just sold my company and walked away. That's not as easy as one would think. You got 130 agents. People think, wow, you can sell that. Well, yeah, but most franchises, most companies, if you sell it, they want you there for the next 3 to 5 years. And because they don't want you just can't sell it and walk out the door because your agents are going to follow you out the door,
Right.
So they want you to stay there. And the price that they're going to pay you is based on how many agents stay and produce. So there's a lot of gray area. And just, it really didn't seem like a good fit for me because I still I wasn't ready to give up real estate. I was burned out. But I wasn't ready to give up real estate. I was just ready for a new challenge. I was bored with my business model. There wasn't any changes in the business model of the former company, and I was bored with it. But I was ready for a new challenge, but I was also ready to provide my agents a new way of looking at real estate. In my opinion, the next 3 to 5 years, real estate is already changing drastically, and it's going to change even more in the next 3 to 5 years. And I see that a lot of companies aren't going to make it in the next 3 to 5 years. Traditional independence and EXP is the way to go. It's the forward way of thinking. So that's what really appealed to me. And to me, it was really the only option for my company was to go to EXP because of that.
And Susan, you say that real estate is changing right now, and it is heavily. But maybe for some new real estate agents that may be listening, in what ways is real estate changing in the current market, and what should they expect in the next 3 to 5 years? So that we don't leave it so vague for the newbies who are just joining the industry. And on my last podcast, right now she said, a turkey could think that they're a bald eagle soaring in the wind if there's flying in a tornado, right? So
Yeah.
when the wind stops and the eagles are able to take off and soar again, what happens to the turkey? I think it would just offer some valuable insight to see your opinions on the market and
Sure.
obviously the reasons you didn't sell and just the insight.
Okay. Well, I don't like to be a Debbie Downer. I mean, I'm not a negative person at all, but at the same time, I am a realist and I pay attention to what's going on in the market. And I feel like that as realtors, our professional standard is we're getting hit in the commission in many ways. And and we're going to keep getting bombarded. And the way that with the Department of Justice and NAR coming into agreement that now commissions have to be disclosed, and not that they were never not disclosed, but maybe not as much as they should be. But if a buyer's agent has to negotiate their commission with their buyer, it's going to be a challenge. I just think it's going to be a challenge. I think Open Door, a lot of these everybody is trying to figure out how to skirt around the realtor. And I told my, I've told my agents since the day I opened up my real estate office in 2009. I saw it back then. I said, guys, if we do not bring more value, and I always use my peace sign for value. I said, if we do not bring more value to the table, we're going to be the travel agent of the 21st century. We're gonna lose it if we do not raise the standard and bring more value to the table. The internet has dumbed our profession down, and so that's where I feel like that we have got to continue to show our value. And I think the reason that people are questioning the commission is because we're not showing our value. And a lot of these newer agents, it takes longer to get your license to cut hair than it does to get a real estate license. And a lot of these newer agents, especially in this market, when you're going as fast as we're going and the pace we're going in, people are slinging paper and the agents are not negotiating. In my opinion, the best skill that an agent needs to spend the most time working on and learning about, and probably where real estate as a whole has the fewest training on, is negotiations and how to negotiate. We don't know how to negotiate. A lot of our agents, especially the newer ones, are messengers. I mean, I've even seen them pushing emails back and forth from the buyer to me when I don't need to be looking at the buyer, because they won't rewrite the email, just laziness. So that's kind of, I just feel like we got to get that standard up. I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how, but how we're going to get it back up to where it is. But I just feel like that there's a lot of changes going on, and the solution. What's the solution? In my mind, the solution is diversification. That we have got to diversify as an agent. If you're putting all of your marbles in the transaction treadmill, then 3 to 5 years. Okay. And you're going to be working 3 times as hard for either a flat fee, or you're going to be working 3 times as hard to make some money. Okay.
Right.
But you got to diversify. Number one is investing in real estate. That's where agents need to be doing. They need to be investing in real estate every chance they get. And then number 2 is other revenue streams, such as rev share, passive income, which comes from your investment properties, but also passive income stocks. Start preparing. What are some other, figure out how to be a coach and start coaching others. Become a mentor with EXP and mentor others. How can you make other streams of revenue? And then also with EXP, they're also providing us so many other ways with educating us through commercial certifications, through reload certifications, all the certifications they provide at no cost to the agents, which empowers them with education, which is going to make them even more valuable, right? So just things like that. I just see where we're on the cutting edge of all of that. And if those agents who are just working with the buyer, working with the seller, you're as good as your last transaction, and it's a changing.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else
And
to say.
Susan, sum it up, I think that you make a great point. No matter what brokerage what you're in, we're all in the same industry right now, and you have to
Yes,
bring value to what you bring to the table. And that
that's
means
true.
staying on top and staying relevant. If you're not focused on your social media right now, you better get focused, because people
Mhm.
want to buy from who they feel like they know, like, and trust. And that's what social media creates. It creates those endorsements and those relationships where your followers feel like they can know, like, and trust you and bringing value to the table. Not only are you selling them a house, you're getting them into their forever home.
Yes.
And Susanna, it's gonna be a scary market. As things begin to shift and change, it doesn't mean that the housing market has to crash, but the only thing consistent in this life is change, and
That's
something's
right.
going to happen. And earlier, the analogy I shared with you earlier, that tornado is eventually going to give up, and that turkey's going to be on the ground, and they're going to have to figure out in their own way how to soar, because they'll be able to, but they're going to have to build themselves the tools and the bones and evolve into
Yeah,
that eagle that they
that's
want to
exactly
become.
right. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's the really cool thing about EXP. And you said you were going to, was it shareholders or EXP Con this year that you're going
Oh,
to?
both. But yeah, I'm going to
Oh,
both. But
okay,
yeah,
cool.
shareholders will be in Orlando in June, so that'll be the next conference.
I'll be at both of those, so I will look forward to seeing you there, Susan, and picking
Yeah.
your brain. But getting involved into these classes and the training and these networking events that EXP provides you, you're only going to come back better, because not only does it give you a break from the office, you get to go see a little bit more of the world, maybe even check out a different market, but you're going to be in a position where proximity is power, and you're going to be
Mhm.
around some of the best agents in the game.
That's
Not
right.
just EXP, but in the game. We've got Kyle Whistle, Daniel Beer, tons of brilliant minds that are going to be there that you can rub elbows with. And
Mm.
I'm telling you, when I'm in the same room as these men, and I've had the opportunity to be before, they don't even have to know my name. And that's fine by me, because I know theirs and I'm watching them, how they
That's
act,
right.
I had the opportunity to see John Cheplick make a recruiting call live in front of an audience, totally unscripted. It was brilliant. This guy kept shooting him down again and again and again. And he was just resilient in it, but in a non-annoying way. Like you said, you have to invest in investment properties coming up. And frankly, if you have the opportunity to do so, build your downline, because
Yeah,
that is some passive income. I've talked to some icon agents that make $8,000 to $9,000 a month off of their downline. They
that's
don't even
right.
have to sell a house. But she's
Mm-mm.
like, yeah, it pays for my beach house mortgage.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
That's
exactly. Which
amazing.
is probably a VRBO. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
And
yeah, it's so, I
you
mean,
have to invest
passive
in
income.
that passive
Mhm.
income, and investing in yourself, so that
Mm.
in the future, maybe you get this team going and you don't sell a single house for years, but you're part of EXP and you're coaching and you're taking these people in and you're forming the future of real estate. That's exciting. That's something to be proud to be a part of. And
Yes.
Susan, I don't think you could have said it better. And it's been so cool to hear about your experience, bringing over a team and this deal that you've cut out with EXP to be the best of both worlds. And I think that's one of the really cool things about EXP. And, I like to tell people EXP is like a skeleton, right? It gives you the bones
Yep.
and you get to build it, right? So
Yeah.
you get to pick what colors you want to wear. You get to pick your personal brand. You can scale it up as hard as you want to and be a giant in the industry, or you can do it part time. I have met icon agents that this is just their side gig.
Oh, wow.
What? Some people are like, I don't believe in the part time agent. Well, I didn't either until I met these incredible people that are producing in the top 2% of EXP in their free time.
Wow. Yeah.
Mind blowing, you know,
Yeah, that
and
is mind blowing.
we have to, all have the mindset of being a hustler like that. As the
Mm.
industry evolves, it changes, and more people are looking for houses, more people are flooding to big cities, and it's just the game is going to change, and you have to evolve or get left behind. And I think that has been some really valuable content to offer, Susan.
Yes.
Well, and we've had a 25-minute podcast. I think it's been really valuable and great insight on, how you've tackled EXP and made it your own, and, how you run such a strong and very full team. That's a lot of people to be bringing over to EXP and in charge of. And not even like just micromanaging, because obviously I don't pick you as a micromanager, Susan, but to be, leading in a way, like available to and a teacher for, and a hand to hold when they need it, but not holding on to them when they're ready to run. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Susan, we are coming up on 25 minutes. It's been an awesome episode. Is there anything you would like to leave the listeners with? In the meantime, I just think we've talked about some incredible things and an incredible story. And we know you like to hit the metal hard and make some cool stuff and take care of yourself and take care of your team. And I think that's been awesome.
Oh yeah. The only thing, anyone who is either considering EXP or has joined, I know a lot of people come in and they're, even the ones that I've sponsored and brought in or talk to on behalf of my team. A lot of them, they're not interested. The rev share almost scares them off, and they're kind of like, just want to buy and sell. Just want to sell real estate or just want to work with buyers and sellers, which is great. And like you said, you can customize this company any way you want to. But I would suggest that they be open. Just keep an open mind. Because that's where the growth is for the future. And I just think that's if the big regret I have heard so many agents who are very successful with EXP say is, I wish I had shared about the business sooner. And it's not for your pocketbook. It's for the lives you're going to change. And you never know how, who could benefit from that rev share. And it's so easy to do, especially right now. It's amazing how many agents now, there's been enough news about EXP, they're ready to hear about it now. So now it's kind of like, yeah, I'd like to hear more. And so we're in a sweet spot, and please take advantage of it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. EXP is changing lives, from a single mama, trying to make it with her kids alone, to a dad who's just won custody of his 4 kids, just trying to, make sure he can pay for their weddings and college and everything else in between. And these stock options are incredible. Downline passive income is incredible. Just think about the possibilities that are over here at EXP. And we live in a virtual world, people. If you're watching this episode and you're like, man, I don't like any of these other snot-nosed people that Gianna's talking to. Of course, nobody's like that on my show. But I really vibe with Susan. But guess what? I'm in California and she's all the way on the other side of the country. Why would she ever talk to me? We live in a virtual world. Email her, shoot her a message on Facebook, get connected, ask her questions, be excited, and get involved. If you feel like Susan is somebody you're going to vibe with, talk to her. Or somebody from my last episode, maybe somebody from my episode right after her. If that's who you like and feel like you want to be involved with at EXP, do it. No hard feelings. We'll be excited to have you. And as long as you're over here and ready to work and ready to pick up the tools and learn, EXP is the place for you. That's exactly right. We'd love to have you. Absolutely. Susan, thank you so much for your time today. And I will be super excited to see you as shareholders. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great one. You too. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.